What's happening? What's happening? D-Hub, the entree motivator, straight from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna let y'all know I love hot wings, but that's not why we're here today. The main thing we're here is, teach a little bit of AI, teach you a little bit of, well, not, I wouldn't say a little bit, but teach you how to use agents, teach you how to superpower your AI. We're here with Mastering Your Business. We're shooting live from multiple angles with OnSet, and we got OnSet AI sitting there running around. We'll talk to him in a minute. But me, myself, I'm a full stack developer. Help people start their own, build their own AI, own their own systems, and use AI to enhance those systems as well. Getting outside of these ecosystems like ChatGPT and some of these other companies to even recognize that we can have ownership out here, and we can create our own AI products, and that we can, profit from those things, commercialize our own products, grow our own businesses, and take our business to the stars. It all starts with systems, and systems is a part of digital real estate. You have courses and funnels and classes and lessons and teachings. 102 years ago, when they destroyed Black Wall Street, they didn't even have the technology to even pass the digital knowledge on, let alone they try to destroy the actual physical people, right? So, nowadays we have the opportunity to save our digital assets that can not only make money in our sleep, but make money when we're not here, when we're gone, right? So some of the highest levels of that is being able to, have your own software, pass on your own systems. And sometimes it's implementing AI so that we can enhance, our work effort, right? Maybe we say 200 years ago, 300 years ago, we had mankind, right? We got a human, right? And then we kind of moved up a little bit. We moved up to a horse, right? A man found the idea, let's just get on a horse. And then, some of those horses wasn't enough. They put a couple together. Then they got carriages, and then they got the car, and they started using horsepower. They started using horsepower. Then it gets to metrics of, we got 1,000 horsepower. We got 2,000 horsepower, right? So those are metrics when you're explaining how powerful a car is, how fast the car is, right? So nowadays, we should use things like AI power. Like how many AIs power your business? Is it 1? Is it 1,000? Is it 10? Right? And I think every individual literally has the opportunity to power their business and their life with as many AIs as they see fit. So, be able to demonstrate podcasts, be able to talk about AI and different aspects and different lights. It's always good getting professionals in different industries because, having one perspective is almost like looking in the mirror, right? Ain't nobody else looking but you. I made that one up. But besides that, just tune in. We're about to go to a live question Q&A, or you can demo maybe some 3 AI VA, system that I have. Where for me, I built a system to be able to help you manage 100 or more AIs in one virtual space, where they're all running around. You can go talk to them when you want to talk to them, and do what you need to do to maximize your productivity in a virtual space, or maybe or the software space if you don't want to get too virtual. As a matter of fact, I definitely love to see people in the room, introduce people on the panel. I introduce myself. I'm a little boring sometimes, so I definitely love to see maybe left to right or right to left, but then starting to never mind. Go ahead, y'all go ahead.
Okay, I am Carolyn C.C. Mitchell. I am an herbalist. I am a farmer. I am a formulator. I am all things entrepreneur. And my question would be, how could the metaverse or how could AI provide a virtual platform for studying like soil health and identifying different deficiencies in soil nutrients and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the biggest things is, when you mix virtual environments with AI, you actually have, you have situational awareness inside that virtual space. In certain virtual spaces that I build, there's literally like natural disasters, for example. Like it's a virtual space. Can you just not program a natural disaster, right? But programming, things like soil testing or basically hypothetical situations in a virtual environment. Of course, people can collaborate because they can all be, different parts of the world and kind of tune into that virtual environment. But the next part of that is, for example, what does a tornado look like going through the city, and how can we secure the city? You literally put a virtual tornado in that city to do real damage, to see how can we avoid what's being done. So it's literally creating a hypothetical situation and figuring out how, and that's what AI does on a higher level. When you have GPUs and processing power, it literally goes through evaluations and that's how the Weather Channel come up with like sometimes they get lying, right? But the AI is literally testing so many numbers to give them a hypothetical situation. And the more knowledge and data that they have, metaverse gives you almost like it's immersive knowledge, especially if it's realistic, like grass growing. Maybe I can have a grass growing in a second, but but if I have the grass growing in real time, in a metaverse lane, then you can technically predict when the grass is, right? And have an AI lawnmower to kind of map when it needs to do what it needs to do based on those times. So it's creating environments on whatever the case. They do it in medical. They're doing really like the old game we used to put the little medical thing. And, it's literally like testing that. Technically AI would create that environment to try to do it, even in virtual now. They're literally doing virtual surgeries, almost like the real deal. You mess up there, you messed up, right? They do it even in the Air Force, when they're doing the pilots and things like that, because they got to fly for hours on the machine, before they even get in the real plane. But they try to make that so realistic, that this is a real thing, pretty much. That's kind of what they try to relate. So it's being there without having to be there. That's probably the first part of it. So definitely a great question, though.
So I'm Adam Dinitz. I happen to be a real estate developer with using modular technology. And I'm kind of wondering, what are some of the most exciting, most recent advances that AI has that can affect entrepreneurs that we should know about?
Yeah. So in real estate specifically, I can definitely give you some. But as far as like when we talk about 3D objects, I was demonstrated more of a 3D game, but I also have 3D printers and things like that. But when you're printing something, to be able to print a new object, like you're talking about modular homes, they're literally building smart, tiny homes, creating 3D pieces that's never been created before, right? And one thing they have literally 3D printers that print real estate. Like Apis Core in 2017 printed the first 3D concrete mansion. But to be able to have, when you use things like ChatGPT, that's actually text to text, right? But if you were to use things like Get 3D or Prompt E or Point E and Sharp E, tools like that, you can go from words to 3D objects. So for example, if you had a 3D printer that can print a house, you can prompt the object and print the object. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's game changing when you have LLMs that can give you a 3D format out the gate. You know what I'm saying? So if you said, hey, I need a knife and a fork and a spoon, I don't got nothing to eat with, you're literally prompting it. It's giving you a 3D object, and if you have a printer, you can now print it, right? So being able to implement these technologies, across the board, it's a lot of lanes. They have 3D printed steak. You ever seen that? In chickpeas. Only way I would eat that is if I made it myself, right? But the biggest thing is, having tools like, being able to literally prompt and create digital assets. I see in the near future, somebody see something on TikTok, like maybe a steak. They're like, oh man, that look good. And they click on it. It's literally taking an image, taking it to make something 3D. And then if you have this 3D steak printer at home, it's automatically printing on the time limit. So as soon as you're ready home, it's like a conveyor belt to go to the microwave, and then you done saw something on TikTok, and you get home and you got a steak that looked like it. You know what I'm saying? To be able to mix these technologies together, a lot of times that's where you come up with these like, how you do that? But it's about the technology that already exists, and people just keep putting more and more of these solutions. So that's where it starts getting creative when you literally implement technology, all together, and then create something more advanced. You know what I'm saying? So I think being able to mix stuff together, that's always the next level of making AI more advanced. So, yeah. Good question. Good question.
I'm next. Okay, hey, what's your name? D?
D.
D, what's up, man? My name is Tony Tucker, brother.
What's up?
Pleasure to meet you. I'm excited about this thing called AI, artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence has been around for a very, very long time. We're just now getting hip to what's going on with it, and it's being or it's being more marketed so people can understand what it is. So my thing is, we have me and my wife own a fashion brand, and it's the strength of our brand is based off of the experience of customer interaction. So how do we use AI to enhance that, but not lose the focus or the touch of our brand, if that makes sense?
Yeah. As a fashion brand.
That's correct.
Definitely. So definitely, being able to enhance your customer experience. You can definitely, just like you said, AI has been around for a long time. Spell check is AI, right?
Facts.
I love y'all had spell check. But being able to, enhance the customer experience on a simple end. We see it every day in systems like online systems. Some of these big e-commerce stores like recommendations. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll buy something from Amazon, they're like, hey, why don't you just buy this? Right? Those are the simple low-level AIs because it's understanding your buying power. I mean, your buying habits, and it's giving you recommendations, right? But when it comes to maybe VR, you have virtual try-on. I've created virtual try-on before, but to be able to, not only we have clothes, you don't have to buy these clothes. You can click this app, try it on in the picture, take a picture with it, and try it on, see what it looks like, and that gives them experience, kind of gives them. One of the first companies that kind of put the stamp on it was IKEA. Not only is this couch big, will this couch fit here? Not only is this real-time size, I can see if it fits here. You see what I'm saying? But to be able to, enhance the customer, wearing females like trying on dresses. I'm not trying to sit there and have them do 50, right? But if they got the phone, they can be in the room doing 1,000. Hey, do your thing.
That's right.
But as far as being able to give them that experience where they are,
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's always good. Having virtual shopping experience, sometimes people want that, not just virtual try on. So sometimes they may walk into a virtual environment in general. But we talk about customers, and just in business, sometimes it's about directing them where they need to go. Sometimes it's, understanding your customer. When you're talking to a customer, trying to sell a customer something, how do you know what they buy? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's knowing that customer.
Well, do you think, not to cut you off, sorry, but will AI, and I'm sure it will be, but is there a way that AI can implement the strategies and then the experiences that a business has so they know how to present that emotionally so they can create that customer buy based off of the AR experience?
Yeah, definitely. So I can give you two things for that. And I can give you technology, and I can give you an app to go look up to kind of relate it to. But for me, if I'm your AI and I'm your business AI, you've been in business how long?
13 years.
Long time, right? So AI cannot learn that in a prompt or 2 or 3 or 4, right?
Facts.
So for one, you have to have a way to teach them permanently whatever that is, right? So you can't teach permanently by going to ChatGPT and trying to put like a big old paragraph in there and hope it pulls from that paragraph every time, right? Somebody will do it. Or every time you get on there, You can't upload a whole paragraph and hope it remembers everything, right? So it's a technology called a vector database.
Vector database?
A vector database, yeah. There's a lot of companies that offer vector databases. So you have local, which is private, meaning on my computer, or you have an app that you can use. So if that was the brain of an AI, what would you put in the brain? Right?
Facts.
So that you can put every customer name, you can put every customer profile, you can put all your logs dealing with that customer. So now when it comes time to talk to your AI, what does your AI know now? Permanently.
Makes sense.
Is the first part. But when you implement a vector database technology, it's giving it permanent memory. So for instance, AI doctor, AI lawyer, AI, whatever those cases may be, you want it to learn 1,000 pages if need be. So without that first technology, it can't have permanent memory. The second technology is keeping, if your AI is on the phone, or I'm on the phone with you and you distracted me, an AI will go off. A human is supposed to be focused on it.
Correct.
Right? Sometimes they're not needed, right? But having a tool where you can stop from being prompt injected, that's what it's called. You want your AI to stay on script. If I want this AI to call my client and sell somebody a wholesale deal, this AI needs to stay on script.
And what was that called again?
It's called prevention from prompt injection.
Prevention from prompt injection?
Yeah, that really
Absolutely.
just means stay on script.
Okay.
Know your role, stay on script.
Got you. So both of the AI systems that you were talking about, basically, well, not basically, but it learns who you are, and then it adapts into being the best version of yourself.
I haven't gave you that one yet.
Huh?
I haven't gave you that one.
Okay, well, come on, bring it.
Yeah. So I gave you permanent memory,
Permanent memory,
and then I gave you stay on script, know your role.
stay on script, and know your role.
Yeah. So at that point, I can know 1,000 customers. I can stay on script. I can know my role. That doesn't mean I'm evolving. That doesn't mean I'm continuously learning. It's a tool called Llama Index.
Llama Index?
Llama Index, like Llama, LLAMA Index. So
Absolutely.
A Llama Index means, all right, after I had this conversation with you, I'm your AI. After I have this conversation with you, I'm going to save this information and I'm going to add it to the vector database. So
Makes sense.
I'm going to take the conversation and I'm going to memorize it. I'm going to put it in my brain. You see what I'm saying now?
Exactly.
Yeah, so embedding is short-term memory. So once you have all those things, short-term memory, I can keep up with the conversation.
Facts.
Vector database, I permanently remember. Well, Llama Index gives it to my brain, so now I permanently remember.
Okay.
With the stuff that I already remember, right? And then prompt injection, stay on script when I'm talking to somebody. So a tool like Bland AI is one of the tools I use. I can have AI make a phone call. I say, call Deland, call D right now, tell them I'm gonna be 10 minutes late. The AI called on my behalf, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
But to be able to stay on script, remember the stuff that I fully need to say, that's cool. All those are just technology. So it's, when I say vector database, I can probably name 10, 20 companies that offer vector database. It's almost like the Dropbox. You got Google
Gotcha.
Cloud, you got Dropbox,
Absolutely.
right? So once you put those things together, and that's how I was talking about before. AI is like Mega Man. You're literally putting more pieces together to have that AI that you want.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. And if this is all on your computer, that private database is not, no other human can compromise that permanent memory.
Makes sense. I get it. Absolutely.
So that can be local or it can be managed by somebody else too.
That's a great tool.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Hey, how you
That
doing?
wasn't too much for y'all.
No.
So I'm Kia, the art junkie. I'm an art curator and a facilitator for art galleries. So my question for you is, how can small businesses and startups leverage Chat GPT to improve decision making and strategy planning and have a competitive edge in the industry?
Guess it matters what industry you're in, right? But as far as having competitive edge in any industry, I use ChatGPT to build my AI. I don't just stay on ChatGPT, right? But being able to utilize being able to utilize ChatGPT, and sometimes it's being able to actually have goals in mind, objectives in mind. You know what I'm saying? All right, matter of fact, I actually have a worksheet if y'all want one of these. See, this is it's like an AI habit tracker. It says habit tracker at the top. But the biggest thing is having goals and objectives. That's one of the first things. I use ChatGPT to even build more apps than ChatGPT. But so it really just depends on your level of what your objectives are. Being better at prompting could be one thing, but being able to have a goal on what can push you forward. What can push you forward? There's a lot of stuff that can push you forward. A business owner, SEO can push you forward, right? So if you, like, for example, like if we look at this habit tracker, what's something that you can do on ChatGPT to make your business better every day? Write that on number one, right? So sometimes, or it's the daily task that you may have to do. Let's just say write a blog, for example. Blog is gonna get you traffic, it's gonna get you SEO, it's gonna get you probably clients. It's good enough, right? So being able to have, hey, write me a blog could be number one. It could be number one. So that whether you do it manually on ChatGPT or we find a way to do it in one button, it's about writing it down first. On the second one, it's literally about stacking steps on top of each other that's going to push the goal forward. You know what I'm saying? So without an objective, a lot of times you just end up researching. You know what I'm saying? So if research is the objective, then write that down.
Right.
Research something new and learn something new. That can help me with my business. But some people in business in general, they may not know business. So how many minority-owned business has an MBE? Do we know what an MBE is? Hey, ChatGPT, what's the MBE? You say a minority business enterprise, which is just because you're a minority, you can get more contracts in your business, right? Or what's the government procurement contract, right? What's being able to, sometimes it's asking the steps and the directions to help us get just where we need to be in business. ChatGPT can write credit letters for you, but do we know the process to send them? Do we know the process to make sure they're correct? So when it comes to being able to push your business forward, it's really about having goals and objectives, and then growing and really knocking them out. Like I taught my mom ChatGPT maybe last year, and she got like 3 grants for school.
Wow.
And she tried to thank me. I'm like, man, you've been doing school like 30 years. You can't thank me for language arts. I teach you that. You know what I'm saying? But being able to use it to enhance certain skills. Sometimes I think that's always the biggest goal, to be able to enhance every industry that you're in. Like our traders. If you're a trader, hey, do you know what an EA, what an ML is? Do you know what either one of those are? Then right. The EA with ML is an expert advisor with machine learning, which in the trading world is a real AI bot. And the bots that people try to sell most traders aren't AI, they're automation bots. So if they're in that industry, then they should look for higher levels of whatever that looks like. But I think it's whatever business. Men rich in real estate. How do ChatGPT? How do I get my drone to go down the street, do property analysis, and send me the data right in my CRM, so I can just be like, oh, okay, no, this deal ain't good, right? It may take a lot of computer vision, a little RoboFlow, it's a couple tools to be able to put this together, but to be able to take whatever you want, to be able to, how do I recreate these apps that I'm paying for? How do I stop paying for all these other apps out here? Right? I deal in hosting. For years. How do I have 10 sites for the price of one Shopify or one Wix? If ChatGPT is going to answer those questions, I can answer that question. Get you a server instead of dealing with, a digital real estate that you're going to rent forever, like a digital Shopify and Wix and GoDaddy. Those are digital apartments you're going to rent forever. If you need 3 spots, you're going to pay 3 bills forever, right? If you get 1 server, you can have 10 sites in 1 server, 1 bill. But if you don't know that kind of stuff, you have to ask ChatGPT or for whatever clarity or for whatever better situation. You know, I think that's never a one-answer question. Depending on the industry, it's a short answer.
It's great. It's great.
Okay, how can AI be used to promote sustainable farming practices like permaculture or organic farming?
Yeah, definitely. Have you heard of a Raspberry Pi?
Yes.
Like a device or like
The food.
Yeah, not the food. Let me show you. But the biggest thing is, you know, understanding how tech can work inside of our field. This is a Raspberry Pi. This is a full computer.
Okay.
Full computer, right? So it actually starts like looking like a chip. So they actually put it in this whole thing. But the biggest thing is, you know, even if you're a youth, right? Because I've taught youth how to do, you know, like smart gardens, stuff like that. So, you know, you can use drones. You know, I've never seen drones doing certain things in agricultural, whether it's, you know, taking up all that land without having to go out there and do it, right? But the biggest thing is sometimes learning what we can put in a small garden so we can kind of compare it to a big farm. You know, and one of the things, you know, that would be easy to even practice for a youth or for, you know, for us grown people to have our own smart garden at the crib is a Raspberry Pi or Arduino, you know, something similar. But what these things do, just like these things, like when you see these smart home sensors, you know, like a smoke detector, for example, at your house has a smoke detector sensor, right? It has a noise sensor, so it can make noise, right? So it has 2 of those. It doesn't have a Wi-Fi sensor, because if you're not at home, it's not going to alert you. It's just going to make noise by itself, right? But there's also chips for water dispensers, right? So you can water this plant by itself when they get thirsty by itself, right? So to be able to have the type of sensors, you know, you got sensors that test the soil to see if it's dry. Boom, and then it waters it with the water sensor or water dispenser. But learning some of those systems, then, you know, you can actually spend you know, $20, $30, $40, $50 on all those sensors and try them out at a home garden. You know, so on a large agricultural scale, you know, they have everything from, you know, solar birds running around to, you know, sensors to be able to help water. You know, drones is huge though, you know, for pesticides to, you know, things like that, because drones cover a lot of ground, you know, in the agricultural space. When you have AI, you use cameras for a lot, right? So when you have, you know, you see bugs eating, you see, you know, certain things. So sometimes it's the smart camera that's looking around, you know, the garden or the agricultural system. I think when you get to machinery and stuff like that, you know, that's a given. You know, these huge lawnmowers that kind of cut by themselves now. You know, I think, but it's really into more of the software and the tech, because, you know, like irrigation systems. So that's why the chips will be probably the biggest place, because, you know, hydroponics, aquaponics, you know, all those different systems can be ran by sensors. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think, you know, and it's a great kid. You know, get your kids some Raspberry Pi. Not the kind you eat, right? You know, and it's literally like, you know, plug and play. You know, and the future of being able for them to buy a Raspberry Pi toy kit, you know, and put together their own toy car using a Raspberry Pi and their own remote control to control the car. You know, in the future, to have solar power, you know, that's just everything they're doing on a small level is the Tesla truck. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But if they get in the mindset of, oh, here's the toy already done, beat it up, let me get another one. You know, they don't comprehend. I didn't comprehend. I used to break the toys apart just to figure out how to fix all the problems. Right? But to be able to give them literally practical, build this, build that. You know, then, you know, you can build anything with Raspberry Pi. You can look at Raspberry Pi, your own doorbell ringer. You know, you can YouTube a lot of stuff. Raspberry Pi, you know, car dashboard, Raspberry Pi drone. You know what I'm saying?
So
things
when
like
it
that.
comes to using these different devices and the metaverse and everything, how user friendly is it for someone who's visually impaired?
Yeah, to do what now?
When it comes to using all these different devices, how user friendly is it for someone who's visually impaired?
Yeah. Visually impaired, sometimes there's devices to help people that are visually impaired, but to be able to, it's really case by case basis when it comes to that. The technical devices, is technically, I'm talking about building your own devices. So, I mean, that's more like hands-on activity. But, some certain virtual worlds actually help people that are visually impaired, by helping them see certain things through certain lens, or sound waves, or some people just, barely can't see. So they need the virtual environment versus, being out in the dark, but, that's definitely a good question. I deal with ADA compliance, which is, when your website has to be compliant for this, people with disabilities that could be, they cannot have good eyesight, which could be the disability. But most of the time, you just usually try to do whatever you can to fix, or help them, do whatever, they need to do. But, there's definitely a lot of, technology that's helping people that is visually impaired and, being able to do, crazy things. I know this, the chip that they got in, what do you call it, BCI, brain chip interface. I guess that's the next level. I don't really go into too much of that but Elon successfully, right, put it in somebody's brain, and then they can control the computer. They wasn't able to do anything or speak or anything, but now they can sit there and control the computer and play a game. Earlier I was talking about a tool called Open Interpreter, which has access to a command line of a computer. But same thing. That's what that tool does. It gives them command line access to the computer they're looking at, so they don't have to actually type. They can just make commands versus type. But it's definitely evolving. Definitely evolving for disabled people.
I have another question.
Definitely.
So I'm sorry. With AI and automation becoming more prevalent, what tasks or processes should businesses consider automating first?
The tasks and processes should business automate first. Income producing activity.
Always.
Okay.
If you can automate income producing activity,
Thanks.
that's how I know my AI loves me. If it made me some money while I'm sleeping.
Okay.
but as far as
Absolutely.
like Bland AI, the tool I gave you earlier, if you can make cold calls, or Super AGI I gave you earlier, you can make cold emails or find email leads and send out cold emails. So for example, if you can get it to find leads and then send out automatic emails, and then you have the AI checking your box to draft up responses, you got a customer not on your behalf, you close a customer not on your behalf. If you can do something that's income producing and automate that. When I was speaking of agents earlier, and I teach that I've been teaching that for over a year now, but in the last few months, like you can listen to Zuckerberg and a lot of them, they're saying by next year there's going to be 7-8 billion agents in the cloud, right? And what that means is, like for example, that email agent that we talked about, instead of it living on the computer like some of my AIs do, it's just out there in the cloud. So there's billions of them just going, right? But that's what we're saying. One business owner can have 10,000 automations out there booming. Like Bland AI, you can make 1,000 phone calls a day. I can't even listen to that many recordings every day. You see what I'm saying? So I need an AI just to listen to the recordings of all the calls. But being able to, whatever that can make you the money. So I gave the habit tracker because sometimes, we may manually do these things every day. Hey, post on Facebook. If we're just doing our own habits, that could be one thing. But how do we automate for AI to post? And sometimes it's literally taking those same things we do every day, at least writing them out. Some of us don't have a blueprint at all. We just wake up like, man, what should I do, man? I need money. You need to follow some kind of steps, be consistent with it. I mean, that's what habit trackers are usually for. You build up the consistency of those goals, and then technically you should be able to do it without thinking about it, right? But the next step is writing the word AI on the front of this and thinking about all the tasks that AI can do instead of me doing. And sometimes it's finding a tool to match it. Finding a tool to match it, and then you stack them on top of each other. income producing activity. That's the real answer.
So with that though, how do you balance the efficiency of AI and still keeping a human touch on your business?
Facts.
Definitely. I mean, part of it is definitely tracking your AI to make sure it's, achieving its goals and metrics, and there's tools to track the AI for, what it's doing. But it's always, that's why it's always having your own goals and having your AI goals, right? Being able to, if AI is automating everything, if you write down this list of 20 things that you do, and then you figure out AI to replace these things, then what are you gonna be doing? Right, that's the next question, right? So always figuring out, literally, if you don't plan out your team and stay ahead of your team, then you can't really teach them to grow. That's just like having 10 employees, but I don't have a plan for y'all every day. If I have to come up with it off the wing, at some point, I'm gonna start losing people. I'm gonna start losing, it's just gonna be unorganized, right? So even if I had 10 humans under me, I have to plan, in the future. I have to keep forever planning in the future. I think that's the biggest thing, because I have hundreds of AIs that I'm planning on running around in my space, but I always have to think of a higher goal. I always have to think of, all right, what's next? Well, how do I make this situation better? How do I not stay stagnant? I think that's entrepreneurship about too. Being able to keep bringing the future closer without being comfortable. I don't know if I answered the question, but I feel like it was an advanced question that sounded simple. Want me to run around in my AI space? You still recording my screen? All right. So what we got here? We see OnSet right there. Y'all see OnSet? It's OnSet AI, not him. It's all right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk away. And when I walk away, he went about his business. See that? He went on about his business. He gonna come back later, right? All right, so I'm about to walk up back to him. So when I walk up to him, his button pops up, and I'm like, hey, let me talk to OnSet. Boom. As we can see, OnSet systems, we see the features of OnSet systems. So each avatar has a full, almost like this, or all of them doesn't, but they all have different AI technology inside each avatar. So OnSet AI systems, algorithm for media optimization, we got sales forecasting tools, real-time data analytics, automatic content creation, optimization, personal customer interactions, this OnSet system. So I can actually go through some of these modules, because I know most of y'all used to a simple chatbot, but just say, boom, we got projects, we can manage projects, we see we got all these different projects, you see that? Boom. Like, all these are identified target audience, Each one of these are advanced projects to be able to manage. Most of the time we have, business should always be comprised of projects, right? How do I start a business? It's step. How do I get 800 credit score? Step, right? So without having a checklist, in business to check things off, to know what you did and did not do, that's one thing, right? Then you have CRM system. How do you manage 40, 50 customers, right? Right, we even got the call script. So if you were to click one of these customers, let me click Jane Smith. Boom, right? It's even a call script built by AI. So while I'm talking to that customer, this is their script based on that customer's information, right? This is CRM features. Email, we can send an email out. It's pretty simple. Let me see.
So are you talking, or is AI calling talking for you?
AI calling talking for me.
Okay.
Yeah. You talking about bland AI I was talking about earlier? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could be. It could be if I wanted to be. Yeah. So when it comes to building even the voice side of AI, it can be whatever voice you want it to be. Most of the time they come with stock voices, or you can train your own custom voice. That's how technically any voice assistant works. And if you had the technology and the chip, this is my own Alexa. This is my own Alexa, my own Siri. You know what I'm saying? You only need a chip, you only need a two-way speaker, and you need AI with the voice on here. but as far as without using Alexa and Siri, of course, right?
So real quick, with that phone script, can you have it also change like the voice for gender or for different languages? So if I wanted to blast out to all of North America, I would need Spanish, English, and French minimum.
See, that's one of them growing ways. So that's one of the amazing things that you can do. You know, especially when you don't speak that language. You know, I don't speak those languages, so that's one of the first things that I'm looking forward to. You know, literally communicating with somebody outside of my language, and I get the script in English. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the biggest things. And sometimes it's the power of your language model when you're looking deeper into just that specifically. Like if that AI was powered by ChatGPT, for example, you know, you can go in the documentation and see the 190 or 92 languages, whatever, you know, and then you can actually go in and go see the specific languages. But I use tools like Seamless MT4, which is a more advanced language-specific tool that does real-time speech-to-speech and has more languages than, you know, ChatGPT. Because there's AIs that really is trained in specific languages. You know, so being able to literally either get multiple languages down pat or get one language model for all the languages. And technically, your language model determines how many languages you can speak. The more powerful your AI is, the more countries you can speak to. You know, and that's actually a good. I do avatars in different countries too. Like I've actually done it for fellow Capital on Demand right at the corner because he started real estate fund, but he wanted Indian looking person to pitch the fund. You know, he wanted diverse. Let me say diverse. You know, people that don't exist to pitch the but that's good. That's to be able to attract people outside of your race. You know, that's literally a whole strategy.
What was that software again? No, I was just wondering, what was that software again you just said?
For what?
You just told him. What with the language? What was the software?
Seamless MT4.
Seamless MT4.
By Meta. It's open source voice model. All right, so this right here is the AI OnSet AI side of things. So social media post generator, right? We have grant application generators. We have website section generators. We have marketing plan generators where you can literally click, all your.
So let's go back to that you talk about social media. Generator. So how the string generator. Uh-huh. So how trending is it as far as being on trend and to be able to hit the demographic that you need to be able to hit in real time?
Yeah. So that's about the research or the target that you're aiming for.
Okay.
So with this one, it's not programmed specifically for him, so it's going to give you just some smart answers. So are you talking about more of the demographics of your posts?
Yeah, well, if I'm a business, my business is D&D Lifestyle. I predominantly, my customers are African American customers. Mm-hmm. So to be able to expand, what we are doing, and again, I want AI to be able to be a better version of who I am, to be able to think consistently what my thought pattern is, but also give me advice and give me the right answers that make sense for the future. Because if AI is what it is, just like Total Recall.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and I accept the fact that AI is here. It's always been here, but we also need to understand it and to be able to use it to our best abilities.
Yeah, definitely. I think with really knowing what you want, though, you have to teach it. All that comes into the training. That's why I was just trying to figure out what kind of training you would need. But goes back to that vector database. If all your past 50 posts was in my memory, I kind of know what you want.
Correct.
So if you gave me a subject, I might have your hashtags that you got going on, your demeanor, stuff like that. But once you upload enough stuff, it's called sentiment analysis, really.
Okay.
Sentiment,
Makes sense.
But it's internal and external sentiment analysis. So when it comes to you giving the AI enough data, it can get the picture, basically, right? So even with trying to find a customer to sell to, like we would scrape your LinkedIn or scrape your website, and it's giving us your buying score, for example, or somebody thinks about emotional intelligence. Sometimes it get maybe a DISC assessment score, because then it's more than personality, at that point, because sometimes you have to speak to people how they want to be spoke to based on who
Facts.
they are.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So if you upload enough context into the vector database to get whatever full, demeanor that you want, or brand, brand expression, or, brand objectives, anything that you would want inside of that, it needs to be in a permanent memory to pull from, though. So and that's the biggest thing, and because it's the demeanor and it's the example post.
Now, are there certain AIs that are stronger in what you're talking about that we should kind of lean towards versus other ones? Specifically?
Based on what I'm talking about now?
Yeah, correct.
There's a good one like Super AGI. I gave out that one because if you're not a coder, you're not a developer, figuring out all this brain stuff, it's going to hurt your brain, right?
Correct.
But having a tool that allows you to kind of just plug and play, and you can kind of figure those things out, using a simple interface, and it's still an open source tool.
Correct.
Versus, trying to go use some app that they're trying to upsell you on. You literally could just go to Super AGI's website, go to your ChatGPT backend, kind of plug in the key, and then, maybe prompt my email box. Let's just say I'm not prompt the email box. They have a place where you can connect your vector database, connect your ChatGPT, maybe upload a PDF of a blast post or a PDF of, M.O.B business plan. It could be anything. But you get the practice of what is the real terminology is Super AGI is built on LangChain.
What was that again?
LangChain. LangChain, which is a framework of, ChatGPT, you go, ask you a question, answer.
Correct.
That's it. So LangChain could be, ask you a question, add these tools, add this memory, boom, and then come back to me. You see what I'm saying? So LangChain is the strategy that makes an LLM with tools, with memory. So the chatbot does 1, 2. That's too simple. So LangChain will show you the strategy to be able to, it's an actual ecosystem of, AI needs a brain. AI needs to remember short term and long term. AI needs logic, right? So LangChain is, probably the biggest customized framework. I usually build custom LangChain agents, which can be technically any of these. But Super AGI uses that framework to give people an interface to kind of do that. Yeah.
So with professions that deal with consultations, how could AI assist with that?
Yeah. I mean, consultation is technically an appointment. An appointment is technically, they have to get to know you got an appointment. I do appointments a lot, but as far as consultations could be, paid or unpaid.
Questionnaires and things.
You said what?
Like a questionnaire type
Yeah,
scenario.
So questionnaires should be a part of appointment because a questionnaire can filter the clients so they don't get on your call and waste your time. So if you don't pre-qualify your customers, using certain questionnaires, when it comes to AI though, that's leads is, like when you think about that whole process though, you have to do some traffic. People have to see you. You have to communicate with them to say, hey, here is my traffic. Here is my appointment. Here is my, consultation stuff. And then they have to get on the call with you to be able to, deal with that, close you, all that whole process. So when you think about the whole process, you just think about, all right, what process can I eliminate and have AI do? Right? Like let's just say you're getting on the call with somebody, for example, and you're trying to close the deal. I use AI to enhance what I know about you to help me close the deal for in that instance. I don't just believe in having AI make my phone calls because I don't think it's good as me. But being able to use the analysis to say, to figure out something about things about you, is one thing. But I think being able to, lost my train of thought, being able to use that to just help any of those processes within that, because you can use it to help you get leads. You can use it to help if people sign up for a free thing and they don't, sign up, maybe email marketing or tools to be able to help them, bring them back in. But it's technically any of the processes you can use AI to enhance. Maybe finding leads. I use AI to find leads to send to the people in the first place. So literally every process in that process could be an AI replacement, except you for now.
I was just gonna ask, what are some of the dangers with AI as far as like in regards to like a robot takeover type scenario? Is that a real thing? Is that something that we should be on the lookout for as far as like too much human of something to where it can be detrimental to human society? Or
a lot of malicious AI stuff out right now. And that stuff has actually been out. But a lot of times it's learning how to pay attention. Like the same way we stacking our goals, we're literally stacking the things that we should not do. Right? You randomly get a password, a text, and you're like, man, somebody has stolen your Facebook password from some random number. Right? And you're like, oh snap, let me go reset my password. You click on that page, it looks like Facebook. Mm-hmm. It's not Facebook. Right? I can do it, show you what it looks like, just if you don't believe me. But it's called a phishing page. Mm-hmm. It's spelled with a P, but it's pronounced phishing. But so they really use AI to send out, mass emails, mass DMs, mass, try to, and they do it by the thousands. So they don't, and in some countries, what they're doing is not even a crime. It's considered like trickery, and they can't even go across country lines, and sometimes to even capture those people, right? Until they get to a certain level. So sometimes it's not clicking on those links. You're getting things, call the company directly. Certain emails, it could say Yahoo in it, but if you can't read an email properly, don't even respond to it. And it's VPNs. Sometimes we use it for assistant, VAs to work outside the country, or I learned back in the day, still in a movie or so. My mom was like, "What the hell you buying this thing?" Like, how do you know about? Download something online, right? They send you in the mail. Did you download such and such and such and such? You learn how to use a VPN real fast, right? But being able to use strategies and techniques to use AI to help enhance anybody that's going against you. Like people that run ads, for example. You have things called click haters. Click haters, I use AI ad manager to help me with click haters. Like when you're paying for ads, sometimes it's called pay per click. You're really paying you're paying for people to click it, right? But you have AI, or you have competitors. It could be a competitor. They're literally seeing that you're paying for a click. So if I click on yours and I'm not buying and you got to spend money, well, let me keep clicking then. So they're literally called click haters. I'm literally running your campaign now, so I'm gonna be the last man standing, right? And they use AI to get you out of there. You know what I'm saying? So using AI to fight AI is the deal. In that instance, I have a thing that literally blocks people's IP address. So it's literally blocking the IP address of that computer from doing what they're trying to do to me. So learning how to avoid these small little scams, because they're out here. Like it's phone call scams that, you got AI calling now, so they can be calling about anything, and that's the dangers of, having your voice in another platform. That's why I always teach open source, local tools, because if I say, hey, you live in 11 labs and, create your own voice now and clone your own voice, but then that company gets compromised and your voices is being used in Bangladesh, and then you told me to go clone my voice. No, I say use Meta Voice and use it on your own computer. But yeah, so sometimes it's using the right tools to not compromise your data, but learning how to protect yourself,
So
even
no
on-
robot takeovers we got to worry
even
about.
on the lowest levels. But the robot, like Elon got this chip, a remote a rat. So even in real life, people don't like rats, right? But in the robot life, it's called a rat, a remote access Trojan, right? So for a robot to take over, if I can hack your computer, I can hack more people's computers. But if you got a robot, it's a computer in the robot. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if people got a chip in their head, you're the robot. You see what I'm saying? So if I hack your head, what are you now? Ivan Ooze, Power Rangers, right? so it's literally, learning how to protect those things. On a high level, it's actually called, penetration testing. Penetration testing is, when you do, I'm an ethical hacker, just to let y'all know. But penetration testing is where it's a suite of tools that protects hackers. You know what I'm saying? So if you ask ChatGPT, what is penetration testing and tools and what can it protect me from? And then the second question to say, well, if the enemy had AI, what could they do to me if I'm not protecting myself with penetration testing tools? You can get a lot of scary answers, but I'm not going to scare y'all today. So.
Oh, I have one too. Oh, okay. I have a question as well. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Sunday. Me and my husband have the clothing line D&D Lifestyle. He was just sitting here. How does this AI software protect your information?
Yeah. You said, how does AI software protect your information?
Yes.
It's a lot of ways that the AI protects your information. If you didn't know, there's really data miners, data harvesters, like people search. Like just remember, y'all remember Yellow Book?
Mm-hmm.
Yellow Book, and then they came out with Yellow Pages, and then White Pages.
Yes.
So right now they have White Pages online, right? You don't even have that. Back then you had to even contact Yellow Book to be like, oh, let me get in there. I got my business, man. Throw me in there. White Pages, they're gonna throw you in there automatically. So most of you can pull your name up and your address up, right? But you have to learn how to opt out. There's no opt-in, but there's an opt-out, right? That's it used to always be an opt-in, barely opt-out. Then you got to opt-in. But the biggest thing is, identity. Identity theft is crazy, right? So having metrics to literally track when your stuff is being used, it has to be tracked first. If your stuff is never being tracked, then it could be being used. So, there's plenty of systems that allow you, there's open source as well, that allow you to literally track the data that's being put out there. And that's really what you track, and data that's being tracked and used. So companies like White Pages, there's just a process to opt out. But there's other companies that hold your information and they're not supposed to. So you can actually subpoena them to remove your information, right? But that's more of the existing data, right? But being able to literally have tracking systems, to be able to search the internet to make sure nobody's using your ID, your credit cards, all this good stuff. Most of these financial companies are doing good at, creating it for their products specifically.
They terrible.
The monitoring systems. The monitoring systems. The products usually don't care about the monitoring systems. But as far as being able to have those monitoring system products, that's what I mean. A lot of those, are really protecting your stuff. So it's always good, but if you don't put it out, it's less to protect. So that's kind of what I was talking about first, though. But then there's stuff already out, and there's a process to remove that stuff too. So, it's just learning the ins and outs of that, so we can use the system to our advantage.
Okay.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Not for sure. She literally asked the question I was gonna ask. I wanted to kind of get a little depth into it. So, like, say if my information was, let's say I'm with AT&T, right? And then AT&T get breached, but they got my banking routing account. You know what I'm saying? How can I use AI to prevent that from being used?
You gotta get the AI to go back in time and not set up AT&T.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, use AI go back in time to not sign for AT&T.
Oh God.
I mean, once you give it to those humans, it's in their hands though. So that's what I'm saying. You can't use AI to take it out of their hands unless you got the Terminator you're about sitting there.
For sure.
But as far as, that's the biggest thing is learning how to not put it in their hands.
Okay.
Yeah, as less as possible.
Okay.
Especially we can use our entities instead of our own personal stuff. But once we let it out in the motherland,
it's over with.
We can find metrics to try to go out there and remove it, the places that it is, put alerts on it, see if somebody used it, all this other stuff. But if we let it out, the bag, we can't, it's over with.
How long you been doing this?
Blow up.
What you're doing, like studying about all of this? Huh?
Professionally, 10 years, yeah.
10 years? Okay. Great information. Thank you.
Definitely.
Dope,
Clap it up.
Yeah, the Entree Motivator. Make sure you check me out on maybe IG at Entree, as in ENTRE, motivator.com or Entree Motivator on Instagram. So, and that is all.
Right. That's crazy.